there, happy Saturday. My name is Dr. Kathryn Garforth and I am the owner of Garforth Education, and today is our first question and answer Saturday. So what I'm gonna start doing now is on Saturdays going live and answering questions that you send in to me that I think are going to be useful for other people to know the answers so we can help more people. And so today I have two questions that I'm going to be focusing on, but if you're on watching live, you are always welcome to add another question. So the first question I am going to answer is, what advice would you give a high school student with dyslexia? Well, I have been a high school student with dyslexia. I am a dyslexic as well as a professional in the field. And it can be very tricky to navigate high school when you do have a learning disability of any sort. But the biggest thing that you can do is take the time to understand who you are and get to know who you are in terms of your diagnosis. Now, your diagnosis doesn't define you, but it does create some unique strengths and weaknesses for how you learn and the best way for you to express your learning. And in high school, it's the time to figure out what works best for you and trying to figure out what accommodations may help you succeed in school. Now, accommodations are the things that can be done to help you access the learning and show your learning. Now, these aren't things that make it unfairly easy for you. These are things that level the playing field. So, for example, if you are asked to read a novel in school, all of your peers are going to be able to read that with ease, and the actual reading of the book will not be hard for them. But if you have someone if you're someone with a reading disability, just reading the text will be difficult enough for you, and that's going to hinder or prevent you from understanding everything. So being able to listen to that as an audiobook means that we're removing that challenge of actually reading the text and having it so you just need to focus on understanding what's being read to you. This is going to allow you to have a better understanding about what's happening in the text and focusing on learning what you're reading instead of focusing on trying to figure out what the words say and learning on the meaning. So that's a great accommodation. There are other ways that you can find ways to help support your learning better, such as using a computer or an iPad or a tablet to help you with your note-taking, to use a speech-to-print software like Dragon Naturally Speaking, whereas instead of actually having to type out your response to the assignment, you can dictate it. There are things like finding alternative ways of answering questions. So instead of writing an essay, creating a PowerPoint presentation or a video where you're showing your knowledge, but you're not being tested on a skill that you know is your weakness when your peers or classmates are not having that same thing being tested in the writing assignment. So there are many ways that you can learn how to best suit your learning style and your learning needs that are not giving you an unfair advantage. They're just leveling the playing field. Also, high school is the time for you to start learning how to be a self-advocate, because in life, outside of high school, you're going to come into situations where things that you need to do are going to be more difficult for you because of your specific strengths and weaknesses. So knowing how to talk about those and to tell people, saying, look, reading's difficult for me, so I need you to give me a little bit of extra time to get that reading done. When you have a formal diagnosis of a learning disability, and if you're pursuing post-secondary or education after high school, you can go to the Disabilities Resource Office or speak to your professors and, say, look, I have a reading disability or I have a writing disability, and this is what I need you to do to support me so I can get the most out of this course. And, it takes a little bit in the beginning to get comfortable doing this, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. And it is really a very important skill for you to develop because it's something that you're going to need for your entire life. And, if you're in university and the readings change for a week last minute, you need to be able to say to the professor, look, you're aware of the fact that I need notice for this because it takes me a long time to do the readings. And I need you to understand that, you only let me know at this time that the readings had changed and I was not able to accommodate that into my schedule. So these are all skills that you should be working on. And throughout the October Awareness Month, I'm going to be doing talks about building that self-awareness and those advocacy skills. So I definitely suggest that you stay tuned for those talks. And if you haven't done so already, I suggest liking the Garforth Education Facebook page and following it so that you can have a better idea about when these conversations are coming up. Now, the next question I have is, when should I start teaching my child to become a self-advocate? And I am a big advocate for self-advocacy. And I think parents should start trying to help their children understand the importance of being a self-advocate from a young age. Now, self-advocacy changes as you move forward and you get older because your ability to know what helps you and the supports that you need change and hopefully get better. But in the beginning, when your child first receives a diagnosis, I think you need to be very real with them and explain to them that, look, we found out that you struggle with this, and we need to make it so that you understand what this is so you can get the support that you need to have the ability to ask for what you need. Now, in the beginning, when you first learn about a diagnosis, there's a little bit of a time that you need to have to process that diagnosis. So you need to make sure that your child understands their diagnosis and is accepting their diagnosis. If they're in that phase where they're fighting it and in denial, that's not the time to work on the self-advocacy skills. That's the time to support them and nurture them and discuss what it really means. And it doesn't mean that they're a different person. It just means that they might learn and do different things differently because of this. Now, as they get more accepting of their diagnosis, you want them to be able to explain what it means generally speaking. So, for example, dyslexia is a reading disability, and to be able to explain what it means for them. So they can say, my dyslexia means that I struggle with reading books. So in order to help me with this, you need to do blank. And it could be giving me extra time to read, finding an audio version of this text, letting me use my text-to-speech software. And these are all skills that are important to develop. And the earlier you start doing it, the better for your child, because they'll get more comfortable with this. Because in the beginning, it's very difficult to self-advocate. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And it's a very important skill for them to become comfortable with and develop the strategies to do so. Now, I am going to be doing several talks this month about advocacy and ways that you can help develop advocacy for yourself as a parent and to promote it in your child. So if you want to be aware of these, I suggest that you like the Garforth Education Facebook page so you can be notified of these events, and also join the Garforth Education Exceptional Parent Group. The Exceptional Parent Group is something that I've created for parents of exceptional children who have special needs and need to learn these self-advocacy skills. I help support you to become a better parent advocate, to understand your child's diagnosis, and help support your child through that self-advocacy process and making sure that their educational needs are met. So I look forward to seeing you in this group, and please feel free to let me know any questions that you have so I can answer them in these question and answer Saturdays. Have a great day.